Good morning, everybody. My name is Kaylee Hasha. I'm with TJK Consulting Engineers, and I'm the current Allied Director with AIA. Want to thank you all for joining Coffee with an Architect. Not sure if you guys know, but this is our last one for the year, and I'm actually ending my term as an Allied Director. So this is actually my final Coffee with an Architect. So I appreciate for the last 2 years all of you attending and participating in these discussions. It's been really fun. I also want to thank Musco Lighting for sponsoring the Allied events this year. If you joined us before, we have some housekeeping items. We want to make sure that you are muted so we can hear the guest architects. If time permits, we will have a Q&A portion at the end where you can ask a question in the chat box, or you can just unmute to ask. You're also welcome to throw in questions in the chat box during our conversation, and I'll try to monitor that as we go. We have two guest architects this morning, Brandon Maldonado and Glenn Curry. Brandon and Glenn are the managing partners of Block 9 Architecture, primarily responsible for the company's overall business management and development, as well as marketing and client relations. They are both responsible for the overall management of projects, including design, client contact, construction documentation, scheduling, and budgeting. Brandon has over 20 years of experience and has spent the majority of his career focusing on the execution of hospitality projects, ranging from hotels and dining establishments to retail and completely integrated resorts. Brandon has domestic and international experience and has led projects in Macau, China, and most notably a 6-star integrated resort in Perth, Australia. Glenn also has 20 years of experience, spending his entire career focusing on the design aspect of architecture, receiving project awards, recognition, and being featured in publications in the hospitality and public works space. Glenn's passion also extends to the UNLV School of Architecture, where he has been an instructor and guest design critic. So please help me welcome Glenn and Brandon this morning. How are you guys doing?
Good morning. Good. How's everybody doing?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. So you guys established your company in 2017, I believe, and I would like to touch on the name of your company. So Block means group forming a unit with a common interest or purpose for mutual action. So when coming up with Block 9, how did you guys decide to incorporate the word block? And what about that meeting was important? And then, of course, I'd love you to touch on the importance of the 9.
Sure. Yeah. So for us, block by definition, it's how both Glenn and I live our lives, and it's kind of the basis of, who we surround ourselves with, from a personal standpoint, and that trickles into kind of how we decided to kind of do the company. And this is how we built our culture and our values. And block to us, as defined, it encompasses everything. It encompasses everyone from the clients, to the consultant team, to our team here in the office, in and out of the office, the environment, the community, everybody kind of pushing towards that same goal of success. And so that's how, we came up with block. And the nine has two meanings. The first one is our tie to the ninth island. So both Glenn and I are both born and raised in Hawaii. And Vegas is kind of unofficially known as the ninth island. So we're both from Hawaii and have spent our professional careers in Vegas. So it's our tie to both. And it also to us is kind of the perfect size of a project team, no bigger than 9. It's like that's the sweet spot for us for the type of projects that we take on. So it's a double meaning.
So you won't go to 10.
9.5.
That's great. You got to get those interns, right? Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'm always interested in knowing the meaning behind company names, and they usually are so personal. So it's nice when you get those creative. I know we kind of all live in a world of acronyms, and so it's nice when there's a creative firm name. So thank you for sharing that. I also read on your guys' website when doing some research on you discuss creating a personal and empathetic approach for your clients. Was there an experience or something that drove you to ensure this is how you want your company to always operate?
Yeah, that was an interesting question. And I think every project that we approach, we've learned through our experiences that it's there's an investment in this project, not just there's a financial investment from client side, but also a more personalized investment by the whole entire team that's going to be kind of touching and influencing this project. So that's kind of how we decided to kind of have our approach to not just the clients, but the project in general, and all-encompassing type of investment and forward moving process through this through the project itself in each project. So
Great. So obviously you guys are from Hawaii and you also have an office in Hawaii. And obviously there's, it's not all tropical on every single island, right? There are deserty sides. But the Las Vegas and Hawaii landscapes are vastly, different. So are you more drawn to the island or desert landscape when looking for inspiration in your designs, or maybe even a combination?
I think it's all of the above. I think it can be both. Sometimes it might lean towards one or the other, sometimes neither. But that's the great thing about being in the design field and being able to design some of these spaces that's going to affect, people who are experiencing these spaces, that we can draw our experience from a multitude of things, not just tied to specifically like where we're from, but also, things that are very specific to that particular project or client per se. So, but we were also very lucky, to be able to experience all these not just from being from Hawaii, but also, growing in our profession here.
Yeah.
So being able to tie that to each and every one of our projects is pretty special.
Yeah.
Right. And your guys' both of you, your experience ranges from hospitality, retail, healthcare, commercial within the public works space. Do you each have a particular project that stands out above the rest? Or I know it's hard for architects to pick a favorite, but if I have to hold you to it, what would you say?
Yeah. I think for us, all of our all of our projects and everything that we kind of take on and are involved with, they all have qualities that draw us to them. And so that's why we have kind of a breadth of experience ranging from hospitality all the way to, public works. And for us, it's about kind of the people and basically like, from a public standpoint, if we're doing a school, we're dealing with the students and the teachers and the community, and those kind of things, they mean a lot to us. And from a hospitality standpoint, if we're doing a restaurant or a hotel room, it's all about, the end user and how people truly get to enjoy the space and those kinds of things. That's what really means a lot to us. And it kind of all ties to Block and ties to the culture here. So we don't necessarily have any, favorites. Recently, we've completed a number of hospitality projects on the Strip. We've recently done Cathedral at ARIA. It's a restaurant. We've done some gaming areas at ARIA, Club Privé at Bellagio, Baccarat remodel at Bellagio. We've done some hotel renovations, and we have a handful of school projects too. So we're very diverse with projects, and we take on things that mean a lot to us.
Yeah, and for each one, when we get to go kind of afterwards, whether it's like a punch walk or just the post project site walk with the client and such, and you actually get to see people interacting within the space, and might not be directly, noticing that it's affecting them, but being able to see them move around the space and enjoying themselves, or even sometimes you're looking at the space and you're like, well, wow, that's pretty cool, and this and that. To be able to see that is a huge
it's a reward, satisfaction and gratitude. Yeah. I mean, that's what drives us, and that's what gives us that inspiration to keep going.
Yeah. And Brandon, you specifically, I think just you specifically, but maybe not, maybe Glenn as well. But that international experience, I mean, stuff that's kind of outside the box, and you're going from China to Australia. I mean, how do you get involved in those type of jobs and select those?
Yeah, it depends again on the client and the type of project, and back to what means a lot to us. And those ones that we had experience with overseas, they were hospitality ones, and they were that kind of integrated resort, which kind of encompasses everything from an hospitality standpoint. We do them individually as a industry, but to be able to be involved with everything from where the person stays, the hotel, the dining, the spas, the restaurants, that all encompassing integrated resort, like that's a that's a really good one to be involved with. So, getting to be involved or lucky enough to be involved with those projects, that means a lot to us. And yeah, so.
Yeah, that's great. I will take a question. Well, I want to say that Raymond Neal said golf clap. I don't know if I've ever seen you both in the same room. So
Always on separate Zooms, but we're next to each other.
okay, great. And then I actually will ask a question right in the middle from John. What drew you to Las Vegas?
Well, for me, it was college at first.
Mm.
Growing up in Hawaii, I didn't have a lot of exposure outside of Hawaii, and knew kind of what I wanted to do, and just picking the different schools and the comfort and of knowing that there is a lot of people from Hawaii here, and just that lessens the culture shock and all of that. So that's kind of what drew me to Las Vegas initially. And then when I got here, just seeing what you see in pictures, what you see in movies, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar path for myself as well. It was mainly for college. I was able to come to Vegas a few times before. I think when we were in high school, I did a couple of family vacations and stuff like that, and it was pretty amazing to see all the buildings and stuff on the strip.
Yeah.
I was going through a few architectural classes in high school, so that was kind of drawn toward it, towards the field of architecture already. But similar to Brandon, it was a very easy. When I was choosing a location, I wanted somewhere that was easy for my family to visit when I was in college, which the ties from Hawaii to here, especially with like all the board gaming and stuff like that, with the California downtown,
made it
super
easy.
easy for the packages for a family to come up and visit while we're in college, and then it's never left.
Yeah, it's never left.
Yeah. It happens to a lot of us.
I know.
We never end up leaving.
I know.
Love it.
Yeah.
So both of you, I mean, speaking of college, both of you are UNLV alumni. And Glenn, you, as I mentioned in your bio, you were an instructor and guest design critic. So, we'll start with Glenn first, but Brandon, if you have input on this too, in your opinion, what can the AIA community do to help the architectural students? Is there something that we should be working on to ensure that those students are prepared for the world of architecture once they graduate?
Oh, absolutely. And I know that there are a lot of events that, the AIA puts on that, a lot of it has to do with like exposure, for instance, like having the students be exposed to the different firms here in town. I mean, the architecture community is a very small community, here in Las Vegas. It seems like a lot smaller if you're just, in the School of Architecture itself, but it's great what the AIA does and the events that they put on to be able to take those students out. Like, I think, not just that, like with these kind of
Like
Coffee
this.
with Architect, or even some of the firm crawl things that the AIA does, just bringing the students out into the actual firms and being able to experience how each firm operates, and different quirks, different types of projects that different people work on. Like I said, exposure is a really big one that I think that the AI can focus on and keep doing for the students at UNLV.
Yeah, and I think they do a good job at that. And with with the exposure part, it's everybody's different, right? And I think when you're in school, you're in school and being able to be exposed to everything from other architects to allied members, and just having everybody individually kind of think what path they want to take in our industry, and not necessarily knowing what that is without seeing what's really out there, and seeing the practice of architecture versus the business of architecture. And some people might lean more towards the business side or towards the design side, but you don't necessarily know those things until you get the exposure. And so I think that's important.
And I know AIA is trying to, they're really good about bridging that gap with UNLV themselves. Is there anything more, I guess, maybe on the UNLV side that's maybe lacking in your guys' opinion that the students are expressing that maybe you're involved in?
Not that we're aware of. I think the critiques, and both Glenn and I have been asked to sit in on some of the studio critiques, and I think that that's important. I think that we need people from our community locally just even participating in that, and seeing and being able to recognize the talent early too, and to help to to motivate that too, because I think, sometimes students, they get that feedback from within the school themselves, but it is nice to hear from the profession that they're doing a good job, or to give them, that motivation.
Yeah.
I will jump. I think at this time I'm just going to jump in and out of my questions, and so I hope I do right by this name, Rhiannon. Do you ever find yourself sacrificing aesthetics for environmental efficiency / LEED certification? How do you explain the conflict to clients?
I mean, I think not for it, so taking the certification side out of it, and I think if you look at projects in general holistically as sustainable, just best practices from a sustainability standpoint, I think that is something that should always be considered. And so when it comes to the certification part, I mean, it is a challenge if you want to push the certification side, but that client doesn't necessarily understand the difference between long-term savings versus, short term, and also, what that means for the environment and all that. But I think just as an industry, I think if it's heading that way, it's always been heading that way. If just as an industry, if we focus on just sustainability in general and trying to integrate it even without it being a part of the client's request or anything like that, should be something we always think about.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think instead of looking at it as sacrificial, I think being more of trying to achieve balance would be a better way to kind of approach it and look at it. Obviously being solution driven, and seeing that, while how can I get it to a certain aesthetic while doing this, or as close as we can anyway. I think that would be a good kind of approach to that.
Yeah.
And so most of our attendees are allied members. It's an allied event. So when collaborating with, your subs, the engineers, contractors, or other professionals, how can they best support you to help bring your project vision to life?
I think that all ties back to Block. I think when we form teams, or we develop, specific teams for the project, we do lean on the expertise of our team. And so building the right team, everybody has their own expertise, and everybody, leans more towards one or the other. And so when we're building the team, we always look at it from a Block standpoint of what's the best fit for the project, and how can we gain collectively from each other's experience and expertise. And so I think bringing that to the table, and understanding, everyone's strong suit, and ensuring the success of the project is key.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Do you guys have any critical issues or challenges that you're currently facing, that your consultants should be aware of or could help you with?
I think, every project has their challenges, so I think the ability to stay organic and come up with creative solutions is key for any project, and not just a project, but just any, relationship within our industry.
Raymond had a question. How or did moving to the mainland for college change the way you approach a project, and what do you bring back to Hawaii from Las Vegas?
Ooh, that's a
Well,
I mean,
I think one of the biggest experiences, or one of the biggest things that we can bring back when we do projects in Hawaii. I mean, Las Vegas is the hospitality capital of the world, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I know the hospitality industry in Hawaii is very rich. There's a lot of great projects in Hawaii, but being able to bring that experience that we've had, being in Las Vegas for such a long time, and having worked with such great clients, not just with projects on the strip, but internationally as well,
Yeah.
has helped us to be able to bring that back to Hawaii as well, on some of the projects that we worked on over there.
Yeah, and that is important. I think even from an international standpoint, I mean, the projects that we worked on internationally too, the entire design team was from Las Vegas. Everybody, the architect, all the engineers, specifically because of what we see here. and the success of what is here, and how to plan an integrated resort, correctly. So bringing that expertise there, we didn't have that when we left. We didn't have that knowledge or understanding, and so to be able to share that and bring that back is, it's pretty cool.
And being able to work with the amazing teams as well here, not just people within our office, but within the profession itself. Our consulting engineers.
Yeah.
We know that there's amazing. We've had great experience with a lot of people in town, and we have a very rich talent pool here in Las Vegas with a lot of experience in these project specific types, a breadth of project specific types. I've really been able to work with really great clients on the strip, over in education, on the education and public realm as well. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you for your question, Raymond. So it's very important in our industry to build relationships. And of course, allieds love to get in front of architects. What is your guys' preferred method for allied members to contact you?
We're really we're really approachable, available. You can go to our website, give us a call whenever. Email. We have a message or an email link on our website as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
Perfect. And everybody loves treats, especially around the holidays too. So it's always a good way to stop by and say hello, right?
Yeah. Our address is on there too.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So this year with Coffee with an Architect, I thought, it'd be fun to do a couple rapid fire questions. So these are meant to whatever comes to your mind, short and sweet. And I would like both of you to answer. So I'll ask the question, you fill in the blank. Brandon, we'll start with you, and then Glenn can follow, or vice versa, whatever you're comfortable with. So first question, architecture is?
I think architecture is unique.
For me, mine's kind of like a pun, so I'll elaborate a little bit. But I mean, architecture is life. So not just for us. We spend a lot of time in it here at the office. In the practice of architecture. So it's life for us. But in general, like how it affects each and every person's life everywhere in the whole entire world. People are affected by architecture, whether they know it or not, on a day-to-day basis. So being able to be a part of that is great.
Yeah, perfect. You're presented the project of a lifetime. It's your dream design. What is it?
What's the budget? Yeah, there's our budget. No budget.
Endless. There is no budget. You just spend all the money. All the money.
I would say something in the education realm, like maybe like a school of architecture.
Yeah,
would be pretty cool to be a part of. You kind of like take all of our practice and kind of put it into a school of architecture that is going to go to further the profession as well with the people coming through it. Either that or like maybe like a museum, maybe like a museum of modern art. That'd be pretty cool. Well, to do.
Yep.
So you both share the same?
Yeah, we talk about that. Yeah.
Okay. Name one thing, and obviously with the season, name one thing you are grateful for in the AEC industry.
I'd say just the mutual respect. So again, tying back to who we work with and the teams we work with, and just being able to know that that's there, it really does help.
Yeah, for me, it's the relationships that we've been able to form, and through that, we can create like these amazing teams. But it's not just that; it's forming the relationships with just great people in general.
So lasting relationships too.
Yeah,
I mean, these relationships that we've been able to form, they've been with us from early in our career all the way to now, and in the future.
That was great. Thank you so much for those answers. There's no more questions in the chat box, but we can maybe take one depending on how lengthy the answer is, maybe two if anybody wants to throw a question in the chat, or you are welcome to unmute and just ask the question and try to do that quickly if you do have a question for them. Going once.
Hey guys, it's John. I have one more quick question. Regarding means and methods, do you see a big difference between construction, on the islands versus in Las Vegas?
Yeah, there's definitely challenges and differences. Again, it comes down to a lot of different project types and such. So it becomes kind of a project by project basis. But we try to, take each one in stride and
Yeah. And it is because, because it's on the islands, and I think here there's more kind of a bigger pool of contractors and people that have the expertise to build that. And there's a lot of local talent there from a means and method standpoint, but there's projects there that oftentimes bring people in too.
Right.
So there is challenges there from an expertise standpoint for means and methods between the two places. Yeah.
Thank you, John, for your questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, I do always like to be mindful of time. So thank you, Brandon and Glenn. We appreciate you giving us your time and letting us get to know you a little bit better. I also want to thank the Allied members and other architects who joined us today. AIA appreciates you and all the support you provide to the chapter. And thank you again to Musco Lighting. Don't forget, it's the gala tomorrow. Not sure if you can still buy tickets, but hopefully we'll see you all there tomorrow night to celebrate the holiday season. If you have any questions about your Allied membership or AIA in general, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm always here to help. And I'd like to wish everybody a happy holidays and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
thanks
you.
everyone.